OMAD Dad asks a good question. Can you talk more about hunger high and about how long it should take to get back into it after the meal? Obviously, getting back quicker is ideal, but would be too long of a detour, or what would be too long of a detour from the meal? So now OMAD Dad knows this, but this is a great question to unpack a little bit, because judging on some of your emails, and some people don't comment on the videos, they go directly to me and they ask a question. And they ask questions like, hey Joe, I'm still hungry. It's been a while. I still feel like I'm struggling with hunger. What's the matter? As if your hunger is just supposed to evaporate, as though that's not part of the game. Can you imagine an athlete doing that, saying, well, I was working out, but I got really sore? No, that's part of the struggle. But some of your questions indicate that your understanding of hunger high may not be accurate. Hunger high is multifaceted. Now, the easiest way back to hunger high is to eat less at the meal consistently. So usually around 6 hours, you're back into, after you've had a daily feeding, you're back into burning body fat. And of course, the longer you've been doing OMAD, the quicker that is. The quicker you'll get back into burning your body fat. If you eat a small enough meal, the smaller you eat, the quicker it will be. You may not even know it. You may not even feel very full at the meal, in which case you kind of stay in a sort of hunger high. But many of you think of it as a type of Vicodin. You think of it as a type of drug. That's not the only benefit of hunger high. Hunger high comes with prolonged consistency when you've had little to eat for a while. Your body gets adjusted to putting away the meal and getting you back into a state of being fasted. But this brings up the question of your return on investment and your belief about it. If you believe that you're not getting anything back, you lose motivation. And that's exactly why most of you email me, because you want, like a salesperson who gets a hit on a good commission, you want a hit. You figure, if I'm going to go hungry, I at least better get a good return on investment. I at least better get see inches coming off or see the scale getting lighter. I need to start to get going to where I'm losing weight. I'm able to track it so that I'll have more motivation. But that's not the only motivation that you can have. Not losing weight is one thing. Eventually, first you lose inches, you start feeling more comfortable in your clothes. Eventually you lose actual weight that you see on the scale. But what if you didn't have that? What if you didn't have that? What are you going to do? Go back to eating pizza and drinking beer? You can't do that. And that's what some of you forget. You can't jump off, because that's what led you to this channel. That's why you found me, because you tried that on your own. You tried to moderate. You tried to control yourself. It didn't work out. That's what brought you here. Again, it's like salespeople. It's like the tiger. If the tiger doesn't hunt, the tiger doesn't eat. Have you ever worked on commission? Have you ever known that if you get up tomorrow and you don't make a sale, when the rent is due, you may not have enough to pay? So you had better hustle. You had better drum up business. You had better find work. That's the most honest way to live, because it keeps you mindful of everything that you need to do. But there's more than just weight loss. There is mental clarity. And this is the thing so many of you keep forgetting. Knowing that what you are doing is right. I thought I had a protein shake the other day, since my goal lately has been to work out and to push myself on my strength gains. I had a peanut butter chocolate protein shake. And what it did is it had too much chocolate in it. It ended up combining with that protein, and it ended up spiking my sugar, and I could feel myself being very hungry. And I thought to myself, what if I go out like the old days and I put down about 3 plates of biscuits and gravy and just go to some place and pig out? Because that's how I used to do. Of course, what is better than pigging out, is feeling good about yourself and having stability. And that's the other part, clarity, which leads to stability. I know that if I go down the path of pigging out, I won't gain the weight back, not immediately. I would be able to do that a while, but I want the satisfaction and the clarity and the stability of knowing that I'm doing the right thing. So I went in there and I made like I have the last 3 nights, made a hot ginger tea and just decided to sit around and watch some, in my off time, and watch some videos. I sometimes look at, just like you, I look at the glimpses of my old life, and I look at the challenges I once had. That's no way to go. That's no way to go at all. And even if you lost no weight, you have to confront this fact. Even if you lost no weight, OMAD would still be better, because you would maintain and lose, and all your other addictions would be forced to go away because you'd be in control. You'd be eating responsibly. So that's also part of hunger high. Hunger high should not just feel like you're burning body fat and therefore you're buzzing. It's like you have a really low dose of Darvocet or something. You don't want stuff like that. What you want is clarity. Clarity leads to stability. And if you lack stability, if you are jonesing for that sale, if you are jonesing for that next hit of dopamine, that's what's setting so many of you up for trouble. That's why your OMAD ROI is low. Your return on investment is low, because you don't have the faith to know that it's going to work. So everything negative that you experience, you naturally start to suspect is going to be a really bad deal for you. It's a losing deal in your mind. So it's not enough to have clarity. It's not enough to have stability, especially in the presence of hunger, you think to yourself. So you say, I need motivation. You shouldn't need motivation. OMAD itself is the motivation. Clarity is the motivation. The ability to understand that the struggles you have are just the same as the athlete who has muscle soreness. Soreness will always be present for athletes, because that's the nature of working your muscles and sometimes overworking your muscles. That goes with the territory. And what you do is accept that it's there. Just like hunger, you accept that hunger is part of it. So hunger high, you can get into hunger high. When you've been doing this 6 weeks, you've been doing this 3 months, your hunger high begins to increase, because the more you eat, especially the more you consistently do smaller meals, you burn off your body fat and what you ate, and then you go back to burning your body fat. And with that comes the brain sustenance, the burning of ketones at a low but sustained level. And that's why after you've done it a while, you get back into burning body fat much faster. You don't have to keep wondering when that's going to happen and how that's going to happen. You know it's going to happen because it's what you've been doing. But greater than the chemical reward of feeling high is the belief in and the knowledge that you will feel stable. Folks, especially those of you who are druggies or have been druggies, and by the way, the emails keep pouring in. I get so many emails from ex-drug users and I got a guy message this week from a guy who's 54 from Hawaii who dropped his cholesterol from 300 to 186 in a month. Really good results. Losing weight, also an addict, stopped using. What it comes down to is you getting up in the morning and not looking forward to getting high. This is why OMAD Dad brings up a great topic here. It's good to feel high. It's good to feel like when you get up in the morning you have purpose. But my friends, there will be days when that doesn't happen. Many days when that doesn't happen. You don't get up and feel like you have purpose. You get up and say, what the hell does it matter? You say, why? Why does anything matter? You say to yourself, is there a purpose? In those moments, what you have is clarity. What you have is solidarity, and that's part of hunger high. The fact that you've done what you've done for a while, you know it's going to get you results because you're going to keep losing, you're going to feel good, and you know you have the solidarity to know that you're never going to go wrong if you keep doing this. Again, looking back at my own habits, I could take any number of liberties and say, well, I've lost my weight, I don't care. I'm working out, so I can go and eat 3 or 4 times a day. I could go back to doing that, but I know that path always leads to dissatisfaction. But that's the key. You need to be reminded of it. You forget. That's the lack of solidarity, and that's the danger of counting on highs. That's the danger of seeking motivation. You're looking for external motivation. Remember my series on how to beat any addiction. When you are seeking happiness from anything without, it's a losing deal. You always fail because you're going to run out again. The solidarity, the clarity, those things lead to stability, and those things are better than high. Being high, feeling good. Because as every drug addict in the world has experienced, the more you abuse a drug, your synapses will start to shut down. so that you get less of that high, because if you continue getting that high, you will eventually burn out your receptors. That's why when you go to these surf shops and you see some loser working behind the counter, yo man, they're slow and their eyes are glossed over, and because they abuse drugs for so many years. And as a result, they're stupider. Their reaction time is slower. These people who smoke weed and want to legalize weed, they conveniently ignore that fact. You don't want to legalize it. You don't want to accept it, because that's one of the things that makes you stupider over the long term. It slows down your reaction time. It slows down your ability to process. And as a result, you have to have more. It's no different from eating candy. It's no different than having to go out and eat all the stuff you love every day, several times. And then lo and behold, to get that same good feeling of satisfaction, you've got to chase it even more. You've got to eat even more. You're on the wrong path. So, your OMAD ROI, your return on investment, the economic outlook that you should have should not be a salesy one. You should not be looking for results. The sales are going to be there. If you're selling anything, you know this. There are going to be lean seasons in sales. Remember, I sold cars. And there are going to be fruitful seasons. And what do? You take your rich, your bountiful seasons, and you put away something for a rainy day. Isn't that what your body does when you overeat? It's programmed to store, because the day's coming when you won't have. Well, now that you're in control and you have bypassed this sick urge to overfeed when you don't need to, you've obtained clarity, you've obtained reason, you should have stability. And if you're lacking if you're not relating to what I'm saying here, if you're lacking what I'm getting at, then you haven't done it long enough, or you haven't reached your point where you're set free yet. That's why the people that ask me the most questions are generally the people that need the most help and can't get it, because they're looking externally and they want me to take away the hunger. They want me to say something that's going to make it easy. Can't do it. So something like hunger high is a bonus, the same way seeing continued losses and being able to downsize in your clothes is a bonus down the road. But you don't go in and you don't say, hey, when is this going to happen? You know it will happen. The same way you know that you're going to eventually have to eat again. There's no question of it. But you don't go in and wait, because that's like the proverbial child in the doctor office that, are we done yet, mommy? Are we, the kid driving camping, are we there yet? That's how some of you are. You're like children camping. You have no concept of time. So hunger high involves not only absorption of ketones, which makes you feel good. It makes you feel like all is right with the world. But don't be fooled by that. There'll be days where that's not the case. The longer you do it, and the bigger meal you eat, you're prolonging that. So if you go out and eat a huge meal, especially a meal where there's a lot of carbs and a lot of protein together, a lot of fat together, you're going to make that period longer. You're going to knock yourself out of. You're going to be more sluggish. You're not going to feel as good, and it might take 12 or 16 hours or more to get back into hunger high. If you eat something that's just a little bit of food, it might take 2 to 6 hours. But don't look for the high. Don't look for that juiciness. Look for the resolve, the thing that you have even when you're depressed. That thing that's inside of you that says, I know I'm doing the right thing. That's true even if you're depressed. It's true even if you feel good. And you know the next hit's coming. You know that there will be a time when you start to feel good again. It might be longer. Brains are different. Sometimes people go months and they don't have what can be described as a traditional hunger high. They don't have what can be described as a feel good, all is right with the world sort of experience. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're counting on that, you're doing the same thing as wanting food. You want a reaction. You want a chemical hit, which is no different than the high of cocaine. It's no different than the high of meth or anything else. It may be different in its intensity. Most of us can manage our food pretty well, but the reason you found this channel is because there's no way back. There's no way back. You tried that already. You tried going to moderate. You tried having a common sense approach, you tried the eating healthy approach, you tried all of that, and it spiraled down to you building your camp on the hope of being satisfied with some food or foods. Never works. It doesn't work. And it never will work, but you forget that. Go back and watch my video on the at leasts of OMAD, and go back and watch my video on don't break the spell, because you actually forget. When you have done OMAD a while, despite your successes, you can forget what you did that worked. Trust me, I know. You can forget how good you had it when you did things right. And you can fall back into old habits. You forgot that lesson. There's nothing external that makes you happy. Nothing. So go try to ride the train a while. Go try to ride the chemical train, and you're going to learn the same lesson all over again. But you don't have to. Have a good day.